Kavina. Yes, we are live now. Yeah.
It's live now.
Thank you.
Yes.
Great.
Yes,
Hello,
Kavina.
every.
Over to you.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Today we are going to talk about the art and science of personal branding. We will go in depth into understanding what is the science behind personal branding and how do we do it, because it's very important to build a brand that speaks for itself before we even start speaking, right? So before we move any further, uh, I want you to imagine, let's say, two realtors working in the same neighborhood, same listings, same properties, same brochures, everything is same. Yet, one gets tagged in every WhatsApp group where when a client says, "Hey, do you know any good realtors in this neighborhood?" And then there's only one of these two realtors who gets tagged or the contact is sent, while the other one keeps chasing a lot of leads, pays a lot of money to do their marketing and promotion. We have seen things, right? In any category that we see, there are a lot of market players, but there's only very few who gets recommended. The moment when people look at their service, they are the ones who gets highlighted. So now the question is, what makes the brands known? What really makes this difference between this realtor and that realtor? If you see, it is definitely not just luck. It is definitely not about the leads which they are having. If you look at it at a micro level, it is the personal brand, that invisible reputation that walks into the meeting before you even do, and that invisible reputation that stays in the room even after you have left. And that is what is a personal brand. See, if you look at the market, people do not just buy services. The first thing that they buy is the trust. And then they buy certainty. And then they don't just buy services, they buy you. So that is how the service industry works. When a client sees your face repeatedly online or even hears your voice offline, what happens is that they start feeling the presence of you. Something magical happens when they start hearing you, when they start seeing your face, when they start hearing you, right? Their brain starts recognizing you even when their mind just remembers your name. And that is how the science of familiarity and trust works. It is what turns just another person into that go to name in the town. Talk about different brands, right? Even if you talk about Lakme in the makeup brand, how many years they have been. You say makeup, and for different people, it is different brands. But there's a one brand which comes at the top of your mind. You say jewelry, there's one brand which is like the go to name in that particular category. So today, I'm not here to just talk about the logos, the hashtags, or even the aesthetics. I'm here to show you the science of personal branding, how your brain and the brain of your client and your brand energy, all of them work together to build trust, to influence decisions, and to make you unforgettable. This is what we are going to look at today. And by the end of this session, you'll walk away with one system, the brand framework, BRAND, the brand framework. It's a neuroscience backed way to build a brand that attracts, that converts, and compounds over time. Because we need also to build a brand that could actually compound by itself. So that is brand working for yourself, right? So let me ask you something. When you walk into a room full of uh, a specific industry people, what truly separates the top 10% from the rest of the people? It is not the kind of fancy visiting cards that they have. It is not the flyers they have printed. It is not even the looks of people. It is the feeling people have when they just hear your name. And that feeling is that instant credibility that you get for your name. And that is what I call as personal branding. Now let's look at it through the lens of science. There was a scientist called Antonio Damasio. So what happened is that once he studied patients who had lost the part of their brain responsible for processing emotion. And these people could think logically, but cannot feel the emotions. And you know what happened? They couldn't make even a simplest of a decision, like what to eat, what pen to use, what color clothes to wear today. For people who can actually use their logical brain, just that their emotional brain was not working, they were not able to take a simplest of a decision. Why? Because emotions drive decisions. Logic only justifies them later. Now, I want you to think how many of us have recently figured out a rental place or a place to move in. We started with a budget and then we ended up into a house which was 10%, 15% over the budget that we had in our mind. Even any purchase that we made, what really happened there? We would have made an emotional decision. When we go see a dress, a shoe, what happens is that we get really excited to buy the best of the quality. And then what happens? We come back home and we justify with our logics. So we would have made a purchase emotionally. Oh, I love this color. Oh, this shoe is much softer than the shoe that I actually thought I could buy. Oh, this is very nice. It's looking very classy. These would have been our emotional decisions. But you see, once after the decision was made, we bought it, we come back and we start logically. The money that I paid will be worth it because they have given me 2 years warranty. Really? Did we buy that shoe for the 2 years warranty? No. We bought it with emotions, but then we came home and then we started applying logics to it. They do a calculation called what is the cost per wear of a dress. So all that calculation we come home and do, and then we are happy that we made a right decision, or we keep proving to others as well that I have made the right decision. What do we what am I trying to tell here? Emotions drives decisions, logic only justifies them later. So the next time you do not have to really think about too much about your brochures, your designs, the way you're marketing. Instead, ask yourself one deeper question. Am I trustable? Am I visible? And that will take us places rather than just having fancy visiting cards or brochures. And branding at its core, it is not about giving people that emotional safety. It's about giving people that emotional safety before you even meet them. And that is branding at its core. So it all starts with your online presence. How many of us right now we make our decisions before we go to a place? How many of us make our decisions which restaurant and what to eat? And where does it stand? Where does it start? It all starts with the online presence. Your posts, the tone of your posts, the colors, the kind of pictures that you do, the kind of stories that you tell. And these are all the signals which tells the brain that, hey, I'm very consistent, I'm reliable, you are safe with me. How many of us have chosen services just because somebody is there in the industry for so many years and we do not trust the newcomers? Why? Because they've been consistently been there in the industry. So that's consistency and how important it is. There's another powerful concept that I want to introduce. It is called the mere exposure effect. Mere exposure effect. It means the more people see you, the more they start trusting you. even if they have not even spoken to you once, just online. And that is why some people who posts very simple videos every week get more leads than they would have. Other people would have not had any posts, zero digital presence, but they would have spent so much of money on their marketing. You see the difference, right? Consistent, simple videos, simple posts, no great digital presence, but spent a lot on their expensive ads. What really works is consistency. And also, if you look at this visibility, right, it's not vanity, it is neuroscience. Every time your client scrolls through your content, their brain recognizes you. And the moment they need somebody like you to be helpful, like a speaker or a coach, or it could be anything, the moment they want somebody like you, boom, you pop in their mind as one of the most safest and a familiar option. And that is why I say that personal branding isn't a luxury. It is the survival instinct right now. It is an art of making your name mean something to them. What does Kavina mean when I say Kavina? Or what does each of your name mean? Before the first handshake, before the first call that you could actually be making with them, they know who the person that you are just by your online visibility. So now that you understand why it all matters, let's just go a little bit deeper. Let's decode the science backed framework that builds the personal brand that you all would like. It is called the brand system, BRAND, brand system. So let's begin with the first letter of brand, B. So B stands for be findable. Now imagine this, a client just saw your advertisement. They liked the way you were smiling in the picture. They even took photo of your number. Now, after some time, when they get into a lot of other activities, they type their name, your name onto the Google or even Instagram. Now people use ChatGPT. So wherever they type your name, what are they going to see about you? Now imagine if you're going to have five different spellings in different portals, old pictures. People keep looking, is this picture the same? Is this the person, same person in different places? People will not even know. Old pictures, different name spellings, and the headline of your LinkedIn or Instagram says suggest some random things. That is not branding. That's more like that camouflage that we all do. Your brain or anybody's brain loves clarity. So in psychology, this is called as a cognitive fluency effect. People trust what they can easily process. When your name, your photo, your brand message, they are consistent everywhere and you're very easy to find. Wow, you're just very easy to trust as well. And you see, human brain makes a trust decision in just 0.1 seconds. That is even much faster than when I open my phone and then there is this face unlock, right? It's even faster than that. 0.1 second is all a human brain takes to trust a person. So if your online presence looks cluttered, confusing, your client's subconscious mind goes, okay, that's just too much to handle. I will log off right now. It's not what they think. They mean what they think that you're bad. It's just that their brain can't handle too many topics. They feel unsafe. And that safety is that first currency to your personal branding. So here's how we do the first B, which is be findable, how to put it into practice. Number one step is you'll have to unify your identity. Same profile picture, same color, same scheme, same tone. Everywhere you are the same. Your WhatsApp, your Google, your Instagram, your LinkedIn, wherever we see the same color, same name, same photo, everywhere. So you're not managing four accounts, what I'm talking. You're managing your human impression. Brand recall. Do people remember you just when they look at your post and they look at the colors and then they are like, yeah, this is this person's account. The step two is own your niche. A lot of us are specializing in different topics, right? For example, Rajwin is into laughter therapy. So that's her niche. So likewise, and I am into communication. So all of us have got a niche and a micro niche. Add your niche and promise right next to your name. If you do not have it right now, please log in into your social media accounts and have consistent titles or headlines talking about what do you do. It's like planting your flag on the client's mental map. It's very important. The third point that I want you to do is to simplify your first impression. When people visit your profile, they should instantly understand three things: who you are, who you serve, and what result that you deliver. Think of it as your bio, as your one line elevator pitch. You need to have that very simplified, and that serves as your first impression. Who are you, who you serve, and what result you deliver. Now, let me tell you how this science work behind this. When something is simple, right, the brain saves energy. It rewards that ease by simply giving the feeling of trust. But when something is confusing, brain feels unsafe. It's just the cognitive load and it starts moving on. That's why you may have the best of the services, best of experiences that you might have. But if your digital present feels chaotic, people just scroll past. So now let's make this practical. If you want to write down a question and answer it later, I'd like you to do this. You just have to answer the question. If my ideal client searched for me today, what would they find? Or if someone at work searched for me today, what would they find? That's your moment where you would see yourself as an expert and see if your expertise is mirroring in your social media accounts. Because if people can't find you fast, their brain files mark you under forgettable. And forgettable does not have a personal brand at all, right? So, with that, we will move on to the second letter of brand, BR. R stands for reputation. In any industry, if you take, trust is a currency. And that's what makes people come follow you. And the fastest way to build trust is letting others talk about you. And the science which is called the social proof principle. It was introduced by a psychologist called Robert Cialdini. What he says is that we look to others' behavior to decide what is credible. We look at others' behavior to see what's credible. It's like sitting in that restaurant. You go inside restaurant, the first thing what we do is to look at others' plate and see what majority of people are eating. And then we just say, we don't even say what is the dish. We just say, can you give me that? What does that say? We always choose what is credible. If everyone's choosing a certain brand, certain restaurant, our brain just concludes and says it is very safe. And that's how this Amazon reviews, your Zomato starts to influence what you eat, where you eat, isn't it? And that's why testimonials can actually make or break your brand. It's very important. Now, here's the neuroscience behind it. When we see others smiling, thanking, or praising someone, our mirror neurons just starts firing. The brain literally feels that emotion as if it was their own emotion. So when your potential client says, I'm very happy with the service of this particular person, or I've got this mentoring from this particular person and it feels really good. This is the transformation I've received. What happens is that when people look at that, their brain feels satisfaction. And all of this is linked to you. Now, let me say it again. When your potential clients or people who would like you to contact, when they see your clients being very happy and joyous, their brain mirrors the same feeling, and then immediate trust is built. And even better, they'll also want to feel the same way as the clients have felt. So they will definitely come in search of you. Now let's make this practical, right? Now, step number one, capture your proof moments. Once after you're done speaking, when you come down, how do people feel about you? When you finish a project, what does people talk about it? How do they feel? And these are all not marketing. These are all the emotional evidence, the proof of transformations that you've brought in, the happiness and joy that you've brought it into people. Now collect those testimonial stories, not just lines. Don't ask them, hey, can you give me a review? Can you write me a LinkedIn recommendation? Please do not ask. Instead, ask three questions which will make them write meaningful and impactful recommendation or testimonial. Number one, what was your biggest challenge before you started working with me? What changed after we worked together? What would you tell someone thinking of me or working with me? If you ask them these three questions, that turns a dry testimonial or a LinkedIn recommendation into a mini success story, rich in emotion, context, and credibility. Now, the next step is that use third party validation. If your name shows up on some association page, industry panels, community drives, go for it. Because human trust media mentions more than the self promotion, because it activates the brain's social validation. Now, here's the key: you don't need to be famous, you just need to be consistent in proof. Because while visibility attracts attention, credibility converts them into the actual work for us, right? So, it's step by step. Visibility will build us attention or give us attention, and then the credibility is the one which will get us the work. So, let me tell you something. Every top person in their industry, intuitively, you can't say they are the ones trustworthy, but they're absolutely the ones who show you're trustworthy over and over again through other people's words, through other people's moments. So start talking to the happy people you've worked with. Call them today and record a 13-second video and post it on your LinkedIn. Your client story is your best advertisement that you could ever get. And their smile does more than selling, than any pitch could ever do. Because as I said, the mirror neurons will activate when people look at the happy people giving testimonial about you. Now, with that, we'll move on to A, BRA, A for authentic storytelling. So the third letter talks a lot on storytelling aspect. You've probably heard the old marketing line. Facts tell, stories sell. But here's what neuroscience adds to it. Stories don't just sell, they synchronize in the mind. And what does that mean? Researchers at Princeton University discovered something fascinating called as neurocoupling. When one person tells a story, other person listens. Both the brains, what happens is that they are mirroring the patterns, right? Same patterns. The storyteller and the listener's brains literally sync up. They're firing in rhythm, emotion for emotion. And that means when you tell a story, your clients don't just hear you, but they start feeling you. They start living by it. So that's why it is very important when you are trying to build a personal brand for yourself, start telling stories. And that emotion builds connection, builds trust faster than any paid advertisement or marketing or PR could ever do for you. So, with that, I would like us to really work on our authentic storytelling. People may forget what your actual services are, but people will never forget the way your stories have made them feel. And that's what will speak your brand much larger than anything else. So we'll move on to the fourth in framework, which is N. N stands for nurture consistency. Now, here's a truth most people will miss. Branding isn't built by just single viral post. It is built in the rhythm of showing up over and over again. And the science behind this is called the smear exposure effect, which we just started with. So it was discovered by a psychologist. What he says is that that more than when we see someone, the more we see someone, the more we tend to like them and trust them. Our brains are wired to prefer what feels like familiar. How many of us have felt we had that connect with people who were just sitting in the same office? You just see them every day in the lift, in the lobby, and then you just feel that they are your friends. You may not have even spoken to them even a word. Why? Because that's a familiarity effect that comes into picture. Even the neighbors, right, at the residential complexes, we have seen a lot of people walk in and out the campus. You may not have spoken to them, but you feel very safe with them around, and you feel that they are your friends merely because you've seen them every day. So that's exactly what happens when you keep showing up in your stories, in your reels, in your posts. The subconscious mind of all the people starts whispering, hey, I know this person. I can trust this person. So consistency literally rewires your audience's brain. It builds what neuroscience call the predictability loops, which means the brain's way of saying, I have seen this pattern before. Patterns are safe. So build that pattern in the minds of your audience. And that's the keyword that I want you to take away, because the keyword here is safety. Nobody wants to, nobody feels safe around anybody except you keep showing up on their feed, be it LinkedIn or Instagram. So every time you show up with the same name, same color, same message, same confidence, you're not just branding, you are regulating your clients or your audience's nervous system. And you're very strongly signaling to them that, hey, you are safe around me. So that's when your audience wants to know more about you. They know how do you sound, and then the consistency builds a brand very strong. So now let's look at what is a practical action to build this safety. So the first one is choose your rhythm. No random postings or anything. You need to consistently choose a rhythm and stick to it. The number one thing is that please pick your content pillar and stick to them. There are different pillars. It could be educate, it could be engage, it could be to empower people, right? So pick which is the content that you'll work on that particular day. Let's say educate, give people market insights, give them ideas as to how what are the recent accomplishments which is happening in the industry. That is educating. The second one is to engage. Put polls, put stories, put relatable moments where people will be able to engage. Hey, this happened to me. And the third one is empower. Share them the client success stories, share the personal growth that you've had. So that will make them feel empowered. Now rotate them clockwise and post one day on educate, one day on engage, and one day on empower. Do your frequency as you would like. You choose your frequency. The step two is to keep your visuals constant. Same color palette, same profile photos, same brand fonts, everything. The visual consistency has to be maintained. And that's when people will be able to consciously recall your brand. And the third one step is talk back. Comment, reply, thank people, be very nice on the comment section. Engagement isn't vanity again, it's reciprocity. The brain releases oxytocin, the trust hormone, when someone acknowledges us. That's how followers becomes fan and become fans become your clients. So use the reciprocity, be nice to them, engage with everybody who comes around. So let me tell you a very simple truth. I've seen with every powerful brand, consistency doesn't come from motivation. It just plain simply comes from identity. When you see yourself as a brand, you will start showing up as a brand with consistency, good visibility, authentic storytelling, and more importantly, a rhythmic frequency where people know that today I will hear from this particular person on this particular topic. Your brand isn't built in days, or you will not just go viral in one day. It's built in the days you quietly show up. So, the last framework I wanted to introduce is distinct experience. That's a final letter of brand. It stands for distinct experience. So, here's a question. When your audience think of you, what is that, the after emotional aftertaste that you leave with them? What do they talk about you? Before that, I want you to hear this. Audience rarely remember every detail of the transaction that they have made because you would have talked a lot of content. But there's something that they'll remember about you. And that exactly is what you need to know. Do they think of you as transformative, joyous, happy, stressful, confused? What is that one adjective that they will describe you? And that will stand as your emotional aftertaste of your brand. Now, how do you practically shape it? Number one, name your process. What is that? When your method has a name, it means you are a professional. Instead of say, I help people find their joy, say, I use my 3C method to find your ideal happiness. If you have a process, people will consider you as a professional. The second step is script your peak and end. Decide what emotional high points your client want or what they want to feel. Maybe it is confidence, Maybe it is the joy. What do they want on the emotional high point? And make your brand a very sensory one. Sight, sound, smell, they all anchor memories. Your voice note that you would send people, the gift that you give, which people can feel, they are all creating emotional signature of your brand. So start thinking, what is that emotional signature that I wanted to give it to people? That with that, they can actually remember me for days together. So that is brand. So build your brand with your brand framework. So work on B for be findable, R for reputation, A for authentic storytelling, N for nurture consistency, and D for distinct experience that you give them. If you can put all of them together and be very consistent when you show up, you definitely can create a brand that lasts longer than you have spoken, you've left the room, and it is something that follows you even when people just hear your name. So, with that, all the best to all of you for creating that personal brand that will outlast as a personal legacy for each one of you. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, Kavina. Just a minute. Very beautifully told how we need to be present to show our presence. Thank you so much for that wonderful session.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
yeah. Any questions, anyone? Premji? Yes, Rajun, anything would you would like to say? Yes, Premji?
Yeah,
Very beautiful.
very succinct, very packaged, very concisely, and just have to add a lot of water to the syrup and drink. Beautiful.
Thank
Very
you very
beautiful.
much, Premji.
Uh, very beautifully said. Uh, see, as for me, my brand is Rajun and Warren. My brand is laughter therapist. My brand is talk show panelist and talk show host. So everything, these small things make me so proud of. And you've explained it very beautifully, Kavina.
Yeah.
Because when we had when we when we have um, when we have when we have a good brand, then when we have an everlasting brand, just like legacy, right? You do things to make your soul happy. So the
Yes.
mind and body is already happy. What
Yes.
we are doing our um brand to make our soul happy, so that people can remember us for who we were and not who we are not. So it's very sad that nothing is permanent, but reality we here. So we have to make our soul happy right
Yes.
now. Thank you very much. That's all for me.
So we have come here to be happy, and that's very true. Thank you, Rajwin. So thank you, Kavina, for that wonderful session. And thank you, everyone, for joining in. So we can wind up now,
Thank
and
you
we'll
very
meet
much.
again. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I will end this
Yeah,
meeting. Thank you so
yeah,
much.
yeah. Thank you, Nagarji.